Yeah.
You don't like it? It's
No.
too earthy?
No, dude. It's yeah.
My girlfriend says it tastes like spinach water.
Yeah. No, I put little my little packets in here.
It does taste like a steep, like, lawnmower bag.
Dude. Did you say that like a lawnmower shaving bag?
A steep
That's so
lawnmower
funny.
bag is nasty.
That's what I used to call mid-weed. I was like, I'm smoking Christmas pines right now. Like Christmas tree pines right now. What's up, Malcolm?
What's up?
How we living?
Good. How are you?
Happy Sunday.
Yeah, happy Sunday.
Thank you for coming down,
Yeah,
Jordan.
of course,
What's up? Good to see you, man. We got the angle, so they might see you. Yeah, we got double angles now, right? No, you
Big production. Big
Nah,
production.
no, right? Yeah, you know, right? You know, and they see you now. It's not just you talking. Happy Sunday, thank you.
Yeah, of
Appreciate
course.
it. You know, now we flipped it. Now it's on the other side.
Now you get to scream from the back.
Yeah.
Like,
You were number 2.
yeah, with episode 2.
That's crazy,
Yeah.
man.
Episode 2, like, yeah.
That was like 3 months ago.
Yeah.
I've been doing it slow and kind of just doing it, but that's.
I mean, still, you've done a lot of episodes since then.
Appreciate you. Thank
which
you.
is great.
Thanks, family.
I mean, like,
yeah, no, it's
congrats,
great.
It's sick.
I mean, yeah. See, let me talk to y'all. Y'all don't talk to me. Let me give yourself an introduction. Go ahead. Do what you do.
I'm Malcolm. I'm an artist, producer, engineer. Best way I can describe it. I've been playing music my entire life. And yeah, I've been in a few bands. Have like my solo project, but really been focusing on producing for the last couple years. And I like to expand a lot of the times on what producing is because I feel like it's become like a catch-all term for a lot of people. Like people make beats, they're a producer. People engineer, they're a producer. Like it just kind of becomes this like catch-all term that like people that aren't this direct musicians want to just use as a replacement. But I do think there's like a set responsibility of what a producer really means for a project or an artist. So really like hold that kind of close to the chest.
Nice. So we started out doing like a lot of band musicianship and then moved more into the production life.
Yeah. So I can just kind of go through.
Yeah, go for it. Start. I'll give them.
No,
give them the
no,
spiel.
you're good. Yeah. No, lay out the timeline.
Yeah,
so,
exactly.
Grew up, my family was always very artistic. I grew up homeschooled, which was a big plus for music. It allowed me to do a lot more than I think a lot of people have the opportunity to.
Where are you from originally? Sorry, just.
Yeah, no, you're good. So I'm from PA. I'm from Pennsylvania. I grew up like near the Maryland line. And then when I was like 7, we moved up to like York, which is like central PA. And lived there for a number of years until I got out of high school, and then I moved to Lancaster, which is like an hour from Philly. Philly or Pittsburgh are like the best landing spots for like understanding PA. And so, you know, just grew up in, I have 2 older sisters. My family was always very creative and like wanting to do a lot of art-focused things, which was super helpful, and I got that encouragement, which a lot of people don't have. It was never like the conversation of like, when are you going to college, XYZ, where are you going, blah, blah, blah. It was more like, what do you like? What do you enjoy? Like, what makes you happy? And like my parents really held like a value to like creative work. Like they found it very purposeful in this world. So put a lot of value in that. And I'm super grateful of that because
Where
like a
are
lot
your
of
parents
people,
from?
my parents are also from like that like Maryland, PA
Wow.
line. So they just grew up in like small town. But they were kind of both. More so my dad was more like a black sheep of like, you got your like country folk in like the PA Maryland line area. And he was like Eddie from Stranger Things, you know, like played D&D, listened to thrash metal, went to a lot of concerts as a kid, listened to a lot of music, was really like a bookworm and like always read like a lot of fantasy novels and stuff. So very much not what you'd expect in that area, nor did I think he fit in as much with his family in that sense. So it makes sense that they kind of passed that on to me of like, hey, we felt weird for doing this. You get to do this, you know, like kind of like a handoff. So, yeah, just super grateful for that. But my sisters are both creative as well. My middle sister, she dances. That's a big thing for her. She's been doing that for a number of years. And my other sister's a tattoo artist, and she owns her own shop in Lancaster. She's been doing that for like 13, 14 years. So just a lot of creativity in our family, which is awesome. So it was never really like a weird thing to pursue that. It was always like kind of like go do that. That's worth your time, So when I was 6, for Christmas, my parents got me a guitar, and that kind of started me on the train of music. And my dad played guitar, so he offered up to take lessons with me. So he would go and he'd take his first lesson, and then I'd take lessons after him as kind of like a way to. It's pretty intimidating.
That's
as a
sick.
kid.
Yeah.
Like you're very intimidated of like sitting there and learning from somebody. So like him going with me was like a very like formative, like I can do this too. So for years did some lessons, ended up switching teachers, and then played pretty consistently and started getting pretty good at it. Started like forming songs, doing kind of like what I enjoyed, and my teacher really like focused me in on just learning the songs I loved. So less about like, let's start with the basics and start with the like fundamentals of music and everything. It was like, what songs do you like and how do you want to learn them? Like, what do you want to learn right now? Like, it didn't matter. I think the first song I learned was like an Offspring song. I was like big 6th grade Offspring fan. So I learned like a lot of what I know about music through just playing other people's music. I learned probably thousands of songs. I took lessons for 10 years, and we did that like every week. We would learn a new song. And like that gave me such a broad perspective on music because I was learning how everybody approached it, and it was like vast genres of like, started with like Offspring and stuff like that. Really got into like Rage Against the Machine as a kid, which probably formed a lot of my like political opinions as well. And then like moved on to like a lot of blues guitar, and I really like found a lot of my fundamentals in what I played in blues. Like that's really where my basis was. I feel like every musician has like where they start of like, is it jazz, is it classical, is it blues? And blues was definitely like my thing, like grew up playing a lot of Jimi Hendrix, a lot of like classic, like like Buddy Guy and BB King and stuff like that, and like idolizing these like really like well-developed blues guitarists that like really understood like that genre and that feeling. And I think it's also probably the reason why I lean so much towards sad music, because blues is such an emotional expression. Like it can express like pain, it can express sadness, it can express heartbreak. It's rarely like specifically happy. Sometimes it can be, but a lot of the times it's like an emotional response through a guitar, right? Like when you hear somebody like that play a solo, you feel like they're like opening up to you. You feel like they're kind of like unloading who they are. And so definitely connected a lot with that. But yeah, played for years, started going to open mics. My dad took me to this open mic every Tuesday, and I would just jump on with like a bunch of old heads and play blues guitar. And I was like, like a 6th grader with like a Bieber cut, and then I'm playing like this really like heart-wrenching like blues. And that was such a fun experience too, because that side of things like taught me how to like interact with people on stage and really jam and really like exist amongst a bunch of other really like mature musicians. Like all these guys were like in their 50s, like just been playing music their whole life, and I just jumped in there and tried to like mirror what they were doing. So that was really cool, and that like taught me like how much I loved live music and like the conversation that's on stage, because like I really do think that like what you're viewing when you're watching a show is truly just like a conversation between musicians. Like you're just getting all of their personalities and like getting to know what their beliefs are and how they are and all of those things, but they're just doing it through instruments. So any questions about that?
First off, that's a sick take on live music, because every person on stage is just the version of they are with all the influences that they take in, and it really is kind of like a conversation, not only with the in between, but like with instruments, or talking about like the reason it sounds like BB King's talking to you with his guitar is because he knows how to express himself with it. And I like too how talking about blues, the different emotions of sad. Like sad's not always the same thing, and you don't really hear happy blues all the time. You might hear some like high tempo, whatever. But
Yeah.
at that point, it's not even probably considered blues.
Yeah, there's aspects of it. I mean, there's like the, there's like a classic blues song like Hideaway. Hideaway is kind of more of a happy song, but lyric-wise, it's not as much. Like, it's always expressing some type of like deeper emotion. I think I struggled with that as I got older because I realized that like I couldn't connect with like a lot of more popular music that just felt very surface level because it felt like it wasn't music, like the music that I connected with. Because I
feel like it
had
was
such a
talking to
base,
you. Yeah.
I had such a basis in that.
What were the? I'm curious about what the old heads on stage were saying about being like, okay, we got this young kid coming in,
Yeah.
he's cutting up,
Yeah.
he's maintaining, right? He's keeping up.
Yeah.
And how old were you in that? You said 6th grade, but were you probably a little older? Or was that
A
around the same
little
time?
younger, a little older. I did that for years. I mean, I think I was like, when I started, I was like 12.
And so what was like was there anybody coming off stage the first time was like, damn, that kid can actually keep up?
Yeah, and I think as a kid, I like slowly learned that like I started to like value this thing that I did because like I think when you take lessons and you do these things, it's all about like how are you progressing, how are you learning in these things. But then the moment I got on stage, like I was fumbling, but still people are like, oh, he has something, like he can do this. And I think that like started to put this value in my head of like, this thing is important. You know what I mean? Like this thing matters to other people too, you know?
And also the belief that like, hey, I could do this. Like,
Yeah.
Because as a kid, you kind of just need that one person to be like, hey, yeah, you got something.
Yeah.
Like,
And like I bombed a lot on stage and I like walked off with my tail between my legs so many times and it was a humbling experience, but like it was so important for me to like understand how to do this thing or like what this is. Like music is truly a vulnerable thing. Like you are kind of like you're kind of like walking up on stage naked of like it is a very vulnerable like open thing that you just have to accept is going to suck a lot of the times and sometimes it's going to feel like the best experience you ever have in your life.
It's like relationships.
Yeah. I truly feel like as a kid and throughout all of these years, like music has been the one thing that felt like it described everything. Like to me, it was like the thing that was like all encompassing. It felt truly like human existence is like music and just like it encompasses so much. It translates beyond so many different cultures, people, upbringings, everything. And it's this like universal thing. It's really like there's only a few things I feel like are beyond us. And like that is one of them for me. So like definitely like found some comfort in that of like, here's this thing that I can just envelop myself in and just like fully dive into in so many different ways.
It says a lot to how open your upbringing was to creation, but then also when you're talking about your guitar lessons, being like, hey, it's not about learning the fundamentals or like doing scales. It's about learning what you want to learn and you know kind of being somebody who's learning and enjoying it as opposed to who's learning it to learn it.
Yeah,
it's like you're finding your own way, and you get to kind of. Because for me, growing up, is like music was the thing that you used to get away from life. It wasn't life.
Yeah.
It was what you used to get away. And so I really like what you said. It's all encompassing. It's bigger than us.
Yeah.
So you've talked a lot about kind of like the progression of you as a musician, and then you talked about started writing songs at some point. When was the first time you were writing songs or like wanted to be like, hey, I want to record this? Or
I feel like pretty early on, I'm like starting to like make my own riffs, like playing around, fumbling around, doing things. But then like actually putting them together as songs, again, like so much like to my family of encouraging these things. Like my dad like would always like take me to Guitar Center and we'd go and like play a bunch of guitars and he'd be like, play that one song or like, blah, blah, blah. He was very much like my cheerleader in that. And I remember going to Guitar Center and him buying an interface, our first interface. And
what was it?
I think it was Cubase was the program, and I forget I think it was like Omega 3 or something. It was this weird tower, and it was way too much. It was like my dad could have never figured it out. Like knowing him, like he was like, yeah, this seems good. Like trying to do some research, but not knowing fully, right? So I remember us like just trying to record like one track or get it to connect, and it would just not. So that thing sat in our basement forever and we like never used it. But that was like the start of like understanding like, oh, I can make songs. I can like make it tangible and record things. And I think we ended up buying like another interface that was much simpler. And then I started like making songs out of it, like pulling samples from the program. I think it was an M track. It was like an M audio. It was like a fast track interface. Running that on our like Windows XP and it like, not handling it well. But starting to write songs because I could like pull drum samples and not really understand how to time them right, but play to them, pull in random things and starting to piece together that logic of like what recording and making music looks like. And I think that started my like initial songs. And I do remember like writing like an initial song and kind of like putting it together and like doing my first like arrangement, like this is the progression, this is how it starts and everything. And I think like all of that kind of like assembled my whole understanding of the next step for me, which was starting a band. And that was when I was 15, started the band, the Ok-Oks. And it was my sister singing. I was playing guitar. We had our drummer and then our bassist as well. We got a bassist that was one of our friends. And we started playing together and writing songs. And I would like start with concepts and start with like, here's the idea and like, here's how I imagine progression to go. Taking what I learned from open mic all those years and kind of being able to like directly apply that and be like, this is how I understand how songs go. This is.
I don't mean to interrupt, but I was going to say that open mic process was just the most. You talked about arrangement and shit's jamming, but like you get the arrangement of like, okay, now's your turn. Now's this. Yeah. This is what this is for. And
yeah, you're like learning like music etiquette through that. You know what I mean? Like that your fork and knife need to be on the left and right side or whatever. You don't put your elbows on the table. Like stuff like that is in music. Like you wait your turn. You don't try and fill in every gap, and every opportunity is not an opportunity for a solo. Sometimes it's an opportunity to step back.
There's people who are triple time our age that still need to know that.
Yeah, people like I think a lot of the times when they're on stage, people get an ego of like I have to prove myself or I have to do this thing. But truly, like going back to a conversation, if you were the new person in a friend group, are you gonna just jump in and tell everybody your entire story and everything about you and what's good and bad about you, blah blah blah? Like no, you're gonna like feel out who has a current relationship with each other and like how do they interact and like try to like find your place in that group. And that's really what that on stage interaction is.
It's like reading a room.
Yeah. 100%. It is. Music is so much about people. I think we lose that sometimes. It truly is about like who are you as a person and who is your personality, because it is a performance, but it's also not like. And I learned that from like playing in the band. Like truly what that was like 4 of my like good friends just hanging out and just having fun. And like we'll get in more into that, but like that really was what it was boiled down to. Like, hey, come see me and my friends have fun on stage. You know what I mean? That's really what it was. It wasn't like, look at us. Like so the band kind of assembled and we started and wrote like our first song, which was Static. And it was like this like very like raw, like kind of like punky alternative thing.
What year is this, you think?
I was 15, so I'm bad at math. 2013, 2014.
Wow.
And so started that. We wrote like 3 songs, and we went to like a bar open mic and like played live for people and got like good reaction. It was like really fun, and I was like, okay, I can get used to this, And so we kept writing, and that kind of like continued to progress. We started like playing a lot more shows. We started like doing like full shows instead of doing open mics, actually getting like booked on bills and everything. All of our friends were super supportive. My family was super supportive, like really excited. And that kind of all like culminated into us writing our first album. Well, actually, we wrote our first single and recorded it for the first time, which was called Philip Seymour Hoffman. The reason being is we had no name for it, and that day Philip Seymour Hoffman passed away. We're like, well, we're gonna name it Philip.
Sick.
So a shout out to Philip Seymour Hoffman. And so we recorded that song. That was like the first like in studio experience for me. And I like grew up like really interested in it and like really interested in the recording process. Meanwhile, like kind of throughout this time, I was also playing really heavily in church. I was like, grew up very much involved in like playing in the church band and getting more used to that as well. I was just trying to do everything music related I could.
Church musicians are savages.
Yeah. Church musicians is such a mixed bag because you got a lot of personality in something that is not supposed to be personality related or ego related, but unfortunately we are people. So and I'm guilty of that myself. Like I wanted to play in a band, like here's this opportunity. I want to play every Sunday.
I wanted to play in a band when I was
yeah,
I thought,
yeah,
shit.
like,
I can't play instruments. I want to play in a band.
So like I started getting like more exposure to that. And like the church I grew up in was like a fairly bigger church, so I had opportunities to like record in there, and like we didn't have like a studio or anything, but we had like equipment there that I could use and like go in on an off Thursday and go and like record something, or I would like mix for them and start getting a lot of exposure to like the full wealth of like what music is. So that's all kind of happened simultaneously.
Was the first mixing stuff you were doing was in church, I guess,
Yeah.
then? Wow. So like, wow.
Yeah.
Like the first audio mixing and all that
Yeah,
sort of
and
stuff.
it was like,
wow.
it was good exposure because it was a larger environment, so there was a ton of gear. I mean, there's a full mixing board, everything was wired through like actually like wired through the stage, and you actually had like your click tracks and everything, and you had your in-ears and like learning to balance all of that equipment and utilize all of it well. It was great exposure, right? Like it was awesome.
How old were you when you did that? Sorry.
I started playing in the band in 4th grade, and I did that all the way through high school and beyond.
Badass, dude. Wow.
So I was like, as I got a little bit older and like getting to like sophomore, junior year of high school, I started to feel the burnout of all of that. So I'll get into that. But I was doing a lot. Like I was truly like hungry for anything music related. Like I just want to do the most in music I possibly can. It was like super exciting and like intimidating, but like such an opportunity. So I was like, I want to do everything, So recorded the first single, the band's playing, I'm playing in church, I'm playing every week, I'm playing multiple services, playing 3 services on Sunday, practicing on Wednesday, band practice on Thursday, playing shows on Friday or Saturday. Like
You treat it like a job.
My schedule got busy.
Yeah.
Like shout out to child labor. Like really was just out here just working nonstop. That's crazy. So yeah, just working basically like 2 full-time jobs,
God.
and then doing school.
Jeez.
Truly like homeschooler activities too, though. Like you wouldn't have that same opportunity. I had a lot more opportunities because I could like apply my music as credits for school.
Oh,
like
wow.
later in my life, I counted tour as some of my credits for school, which is crazy.
Fuck yeah, dude.
It's crazy.
Fuck yeah, dude.
And so yeah, I was doing all of that, and then we ended up starting our first album with the Ok-Oks, and we met this guy, started recording this album, and that ended up being like a 1.5-year process, and really got into the weeds of like what recording is, what I like about it, and what I hate about it.
What do you hate about recording?
I love what recording can do in emphasizing music, but I hate what it can do in minimizing music.
That's a fucking bar. That was a sentence.
So like, I think recording should be a catalyst for translating what you do live to record. That is not a easy thing to do, and I recognize that. But I think it's unfortunate when that step of recording to translate ends up changing it to a completely different language. You know what I mean? Like, you miss the point. You miss the point of what we're trying to achieve, and you got either like the technical aspect of it or your ego or whatever when you're recording or engineering involved, and you end up contaminating this thing that was like pure to begin with. And in the same way, recording can also be like a thing to hide behind.
Yeah,
People cannot be live musicians and can hide behind recording and say like, this is what I do. but like you're missing the starting point of like playing it live or like interacting with other musicians that makes it feel. So there's aspects to that, and like I don't think anything I can say generalized will encompass all of that, but that's the best way I can describe
that
it.
makes sense because it speaks to like how you view it as almost a spiritual thing that humans are a part of.
Yes.
You know, it's not something that we do. It's something that is something that emphasizes us as beings.
Correct. Yeah. Actually, that is exactly the point.
Yeah.
So, no, a good way to word it.
All right, continue with the you're recording an album.
No, you're good. So we started recording this album, and that was like a strenuous process. We were there multiple times a week recording it, got really involved, got a lot of opportunity to do a lot of things that I can't believe I was able to do now. Like our bassist, her dad collected guitars, so we got to like borrow a bunch of like instruments for that project. I got to record with like a 58 Strat, which is a crazy concept. And like, why am I recording with that? I don't know.
Album?
Yeah, first album. It's insane. Like crazy concept. And we worked on this project, and I was like a little bit like adolescent. I mean, obviously I was a kid, so it was like I think we recorded that when I was like 16, 17. So I was just kind of like along for the ride and like seeing how this went. And we ended up, spending this whole time. It ended up the same guy who engineered it, mixed it, and mastered it, and we weren't entirely happy with it. It was like one of those things where it was built up to be like, we're doing all this intention, we're spending all this time and hours and stuff, expecting it to be like magnificent, and at the end of the process, it's like, well, this is kind of like, this is fine, So it kind of like started to like distill this thing in my mind of like, well, how do you make those like magnificent records? If we did all this time, we spent all this hours and all this intention behind it, how do you make a great record then? Like, what does that look like? So that like curiosity sat in my brain of like, well, how can I do that? Which started kind of like something that I really think like formed me as an adult of like what I focus my time on and energy. So we played a lot of shows. We were playing pretty regularly. We got like a decent local following. People were like interested, excited to see us. We put on a crazy show. We loved being super like hyperactive on stage, like always wanted to do the like live band performance of like really focusing on the performance of like jumping into the drums and like throwing shit around and just being very excited on stage. And I think also in contrast to like growing up in the church, it was like very much like, well, this is what I actually want to do. This is how I want to engage with music. So I think that was like generally like appealing to people watching us live, seeing these people go kind of crazy on stage and getting excited about this thing they love. And also just having fun. We would do like little bits when we played, like, just doing like coordinated things and everything. It was fun. So that was going on while we were playing. We started playing a lot more and we started writing more music, as you do. And we started assembling kind of the next project. And during that, we ended up going to a much bigger studio called Right Coast Studio. And this was down in Columbia, like pretty close to York, Lancaster area where I grew up. Very nice studio from the 70s. The main owner, he was like a mixing engineer for like huge bands. He did like worked on like, he went on tour with like Van Halen and all kinds of stuff. So there was some decent money thrown at this huge warehouse studio. So we ended up going there to record our second album, 2217. So that was like kind of like our album. That was like the one that was like, this is the one, we put a lot of time and energy. Not that we didn't in the first one, but this one felt like this is the recording process.
Real quick, when did the first album come out?
The first album, I think it was 2016.
And how much time was it between first one and second one?
I have to look at the dates. I'm pretty sure it came out in 2018. Do you know?
The album came out, I think, in 2017 because when I auditioned, I'm pretty sure it was
already done.
It was
yeah.
Either almost done or like already.
Yeah, it was done.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So I think it was I think the first album was 2015, and then this second one was 2017. So 2 years.
Okay.
So yeah. So we started recording this second album in this huge studio, and we did it all live. So the only thing we retracked was vocals, and then we did like dubs on top of it. But truly, like the recording experience, like the traditional. We like printed it to analog tape and then rebounced it and mastered it. So it was like the full thing, And shout out to my dad because he was really funding the most of that. He was really,
parents, bro.
Shout out those parents, bro. Shout out to my parents.
Shout out the
just
parentals.
really just out here just doing the most. And man, what a crazy experience. That was truly like a once in a lifetime experience for me at that point of like, I'm here with my other 3 bandmates. And just recording this project and like sitting in the back room in this like kind of like, smoked out, like everything kind of smells like cigarette smoke. Everything's dusty. You got these leather couches. We're like sitting there for hours ordering pizza, like playing music. It felt like everything I saw in like the movies or documentaries of like, this is the experience, huge mixing room and everything. So yeah, we tracked everything live, drums, bass, guitar in one big warehouse room that was all recorded live, and then vocals recorded separately, and then we dubbed over those. And that really got me involved in like the recording process because again, first project, I was like, I need to know how to do this to know how to make a good album. Now I'm like, I want to learn how to make a good album. It's now like I'm going to watch and see what is going on and try and make some calls on how to make this great because that is ultimately my intention. I'm finding this very like perfectionist mentality of like, I want my baby to be taken care of, And so we worked on that for a while. I mean, there was like the 2 years between the first and second project, and we wrote most of the songs before this first project was done. So we were already jumping in the studio, and that was like a year-long process. It's crazy how long these things take for people outside of the music sphere. They're like, what the hell? Like, why would you spend that much time on this?
Why can't you just drop an album every 3 months?
Yeah.
I need a project.
Like, I just think for a lot of other people, it's like this crazy concept. But like for me, it's like I'm working on a project for 2.5 years, and that's okay. That's cool. Like I want to spend that much time on it, So, we were very intentional about this project, very proud of how the songs turned out. Still very, very proud of that second album. It is
2217, you said?
2217 is the album, yeah. The Ok-Oks. And that was with our old drummer, but our new bassist, we got another bassist that was kind of like forming the long-term, like this is the band. And then that album was basically finished up, and we ended up finding ourselves in a position to find a new drummer. And that's where Jordan came in. We held auditions for drummers. Jordan, the first and only audition. Again, we said it last time, and we're gonna say this. I think this bit is gonna go on for the rest of my life. But shout out to Dan, Dan from Chick-fil-A. I just feel like we're gonna mention him forever, and he's probably never gonna know that he's just
like,
in the conversation.
What are these kids talking about?
Yeah. So our bassist Rue worked at Chick-fil-A and knew this guy Dan, and he worked at another Chick-fil-A where Jordan worked at, and he was like, "Hey, this guy plays drums. He's really good. You should reach out to him when we open up auditions." So
I remember that part of the story.
Yeah,
that's so funny.
The PA and Maryland are close. So
yeah.
It's like, the Chick-fil-A that I worked at was probably like 45
Yeah.
minutes from like PA, so it's not that crazy.
Yeah.
It just happened to be, it was kind of out
Yeah.
for me. It happened to be in the same district.
In the same district.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Like truly divine timing of like just the right people in the right
man.
mix. So we opened up auditions. Jordan came up to our house not knowing who we were. These random people that were like, "Hey, come audition."
You're
Drove
wild.
an hour.
You're wild.
Drove an hour. as you get older, you realize, like, how was I doing this as a kid? Of like,
that's dangerous.
Yeah, it's dangerous. Like, that's crazy. You have no idea.
It's like, I can go, it's a drum audition.
Yeah, like again, like, thankful for my parents being like, yeah, do this. Because, like, if I was an adult now, I'd be like, what the hell? Like, you don't know this person? You know
let's go meet up
like,
at a coffee shop and like make sure vet you out real quick.
Whole family right there. Like, whole family.
Yeah,
that's
whole family.
So funny.
Whole family.
Yeah.
Like, bro, I could be anybody.
Hi.
It could be anybody. Like,
Yeah, context. My family is loud. My family is loud and very active.
That, yeah.
So, like, I can't imagine Jordan walking in. We're, like, just being so goofy. My family is all, like, all my sisters were homeschooled as well. We're all just loud, and we think we're, like, each other's best friends, which is true. So we just think we're hilarious, and we just, like, are goofy and silly and loud and everything. So, yeah, probably an intimidating experience going into that. But he auditioned, and it was, like, perfect. It was like, oh, this is it. And then there was the band. That was the actual band. You know what I mean? Like, this was the Ok-Oks, like, personified. This was every individual.
And this was 2018, I guess.
No, this was like in December or November of 2016.
Oh, okay. Because the album, the 2217, didn't have you on it.
It didn't have me on it.
He didn't play drums, but it was finished around the time he joined.
Okay.
So they sent
So the audition had happened during the process of you working.
Yeah.
Okay, all right.
Y'all sent me Rude.
Yeah.
Sent me the demos before.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, we were like in the middle of mixing and mastering this project when Jordan jumped on. So it was a very tough thing for us because we were like, we're down a drummer and we have a whole album we just finished. What are we going to do? So, Jordan came on, started playing. We played our first show with Jordan, and like this new album is just come out. I can't remember if it came out already or we're in the process of releasing it.
I don't think it came out yet. I think it was like about to like the next month or something. Like
Yeah.
It was like very close.
I should have like laid out the chronological order of all these things. And our first show was opening for Turnover.
That's right. I remember you.
Crazy.
Okay, I remember.
Just crazy. Sold out show. Huge. It was at the Chameleon Club. Absolutely shout out to Chameleon Club. It was like a core of Lancaster. It was like the best venue. It was around forever. So many acts played there throughout the years. It was just this like small venue that stuck around and unfortunately got killed by COVID, as in a lot of art venues and everything going on. And Chameleon was truly like our place. It was like the place we always played. It was like the best environment. Like truly
home field
loved that.
advantage.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So we opened for a lot of bands there that we really liked and got a lot of opportunities because of that. But that first Turnover show, there was like 300 people there or something like that. Dude. It was packed. We played our show. Everybody really liked us at that point, like really enjoyed what we were doing. We got to meet like a lot of people. And that kind of like sent us in this trajectory of like really taking this fully seriously and playing a lot, which like at that point for me, it was like, I don't think it dawned on me this like crazy trajectory of like, I just started this band with my sister and some friends. And now it's like continually like leveling up. It's like starting to become this serious thing. And like, I don't think for me, it was as like crazy as it is now, you know what I mean, of like the concept of this thing coming together and working, and you're working with these people and you like these people, like playing truly the best experience, like some of my best friends.
Don't realize how lucky you are in this situation, in creative stuff.
So we started on our like first tours. We started planning some DIY tours. My dad drove. Again, shout out to my dad.
Shout out, man. Shout out.
Both my parents so supportive. Like my mom holding down the fort, doing her thing. My dad driving, just like awesome. And so we started doing like our first like official tours. We did one tour, which was crazy. It was 2 shows on a weekend. And this was before Jordan joined. But we did 2 shows in one weekend. We drove from PA to Memphis.
Oh.
And then from Memphis to Cleveland, Ohio, and then went home. So that was like our first like tour.
Good on you, brother. I could never.
The first show was in Memphis at this like college venue thing, and the second show was in this like dusty ass college like trap house. We played the basement, and it was like the best show I've ever played.
Really? No shit.
It was so sick. Everybody was like hanging off the rafters. Like everybody was going crazy for us. It was awesome, crazy experience. And Jordan actually went back there with us.
Yes.
So that was the second time we played it.
They want to jump
And
back.
he knows how crazy that was.
It was absolutely insane, bro. It was like what you think a college party show would look like. Whatever's in your head, exactly that.
Yeah.
Like, perfect imagery. Somebody is giving somebody a tattoo with a Tupperware, an X-Acto knife, and taped to a like colored pencil.
Good Lord.
So like that's the
Yeah.
catalyst of what this is. Anyways, so we started doing like more official tours. Like we did like a 10-day tour. Our first tour going up, and we did like a Northeast tour. We went up through like Boston. We did like all the way up to Maine. Did some shows in Philly. You know, just kind of doing like a little like loop up through the Northeast, and it was awesome. It was great. It was an awesome experience.
What was your favorite city out of that?
I think it's tough because like the city itself is an experience, and then the shows themselves are an experience. So like,
Yes, yeah. Give me your best show in the best city. Yeah, that's a great point.
So that first tour, I think one of my favorite shows was probably like Rochester. Rochester was really fun. It was like this cool venue. It was right next to this barcade in an old church, and like that whole environment and just like the vibes in Rochester were really cool. And then we ended up staying at like a lot of times we were staying at people's houses. Like people were like at a venue and being like, I have a place for you to stay, which again, as an adult, that's insane. You meet these people randomly for the first time. You just stay at their house. We did that a lot. Like that was a regular thing. Like tour is expensive and it is not easy, and you're crumbing it a lot of the times. And we really had to. I mean, that was it. Like
when I Chicago College, the beat scene, we
Yeah.
had people who would come into Chicago all the time, and people would just crash on our
Yeah.
couch, like in our dorm room.
Nobody has money.
I've never met this person before, but yeah, okay, you have a show here? All right,
Yeah.
whatever.
But like I think that is so genuine, and I think that is like a very hopeful perspective of like people are good. People are like well intended.
It's like hitchhiking.
Yeah.
Damn near. Yeah.
Yeah, no, for sure. And like there's still examples of that. You know, I feel like in a very polarizing world that we have right now, like there's still a lot of love and consideration and intention behind people. Especially I find a lot of times in the DIY music scene. The DIY music scene, while it has a lot of warts, it really is like in so many ways such a loving environment too.
It's community.
It's such a
Yeah.
community. It's such a like community-based thing. You need people. Yeah, Rochester was really cool. Did we play Prattsville that first tour?
I think Prattsville was the first.
Prattsville was like a valley town in like upper New York.
Wow.
And it was like there was like maybe like 5 businesses on this street, and there was just houses, and it was like such a small community. It had to be like 200 people in this town
Holy
or something.
shit.
It was like one main street, and there was just mountains surrounding it. But there was a community center. It was like a community art center, and it had like computers, and like they held shows, they did art events and stuff. But it was where everybody went. Everybody that was like the black sheep or the outcasts in the city just went there. Like all the kids that like just needed somewhere to hang out and like feel like themselves, that's where they went. And so we played this show, and it was so exciting because everybody was so happy that we were there. It was like such a good environment. We had like a bunch of other bands that were touring that came in, and we all like slept on the floor in this like art house, and it was just truly like a summer experience, you know. Really good vibe, and just everybody was so nice. So that was also like a great show. That was awesome. We met a lot of people on tour.
So how many tour, like you did the little 10-day tour, was it more live stuff, or did y'all go immediately into an album? Or did you go more in music? Where is it like
Yes.
going separate ways? Like what was
So we played we have a lot to cover. We played the album, we performed that. We did 3 tours in total. Together as like a full band. We did like a winter tour, which was crusty as can be. We like slept in our car, and like our like hair was like frozen to the wind. Like the
McDonald's parking lot.
yeah, like just crazy. And eventually we bought like a tour van. It was like a whole experience. So a lot of really good tours, a lot of good opportunities. And we started writing kind of like our next project, and we were playing a lot, and I felt like we were truly on like the cusp of like really like starting to do this full time. And I think that's kind of how we all felt. And our bassist Rue was like, hey, like, I don't think this is really what I want right now. And it was hard to hear at that time, but like I totally understand where they were at in their life too now. Of like, I get it. Like the music scene and industry is a beast and it is exhausting, and it can be really fleeting a lot of the times. So like I get it now as an adult. I think then it was hard for me to understand, but
were y'all feeling any of that pressure like at that time?
I think we were feeling pressure, and it was exhausting because we were starting to we were out of high school, and so it was now like, okay, what are we gonna do with how are we gonna make this happen?
That's scary.
Which and so Jordan and I are the same age. Rue and Sadie, my sister, who's the singer, and then Rue, the bassist, they were a little bit older, like 3 or 4 years older. So they were also feeling the pressure a little bit more than we were because we were just out of high school.
Absolutely.
So Rue decided to step away from the project. We tried to get another bassist, and it just didn't feel right. That was the band. You know what I mean? Like those were my four. Like the four of us, that was like my 3 best friends. Like that was the band. That was the best environment. That was what it was. So after more consideration and everything, we kind of tried to make it work. And then Jordan was like, "Hey, I think I'm going to move to Nashville." And that kind of
oh shit,
solidified everything for us.
Like, all right, well.
So we just kind of called it quits. We were like, all right, that's the end of this. And that was really tough for me because now all of a sudden I wasn't playing in church. I kind of redetermined my involvement with the church, things didn't go the best. I started getting really cynical about things at the church. I started seeing the inner workings of the church business, which was really made me cynical and sour towards it. Cause I started to see how this whole thing works and how they make it happen. That's a longer conversation. Probably
I know that conversation. I know that.
But so I was kind of out of playing in the church. I was out of the band. The band was stopping. For me at that point, that was my life. That was all my time, all my hours spent on both of these things. So it's
such a long time.
Where do I go from here?
You were 15 when the band started.
Yeah.
And how old were you when this happened? We were just trying to figure this.
When was that? When did you move? That was 2019?
That was 18. So we were 21, 20.
Yeah.
That's
20.
some real grown up, that's
20.
some real growing up shit.
20.
Yeah.
Being
so
okay, now you're out of it.
Hit 20s, and then immediately everything that I've ever known, including high school, church, band, everything is kind of reset.
Got a lot of free time now.
Yeah, and I was like, well, I got to figure this out, So, behind all of this, I was doing my little recording. I was I started getting really invested in recording, especially after that last project. I started really wanting to get involved in recording my own music and making stuff. And I was making things here or there, making beats, recording some of my own music, writing things. So that started me wanting to record my own project, do something solo. So I already had some songs, and I had some friends that I showed it to, and they really liked it and were really interested in this thing that I was doing. My one friend Kems, he was a big encouragement of this is good. You should do this. Truly being a cheerleader again in that. And during this time, for a little bit, I worked at a studio for a period of time, starting to record some people and mix and stuff. So I was definitely leaning towards that already. So I was let's fully lean into this. So I started Malcolm. Malcolm was my solo project. I just got out of, also around this time, got out of a long-term relationship, and that was very serious for me at the time, and I thought it was very much going somewhere. So this was my heartbreak album, my first album. It was just I need to get this out. This is going to be my processing, and I want to do something anyway. So feeling a lot of just sadness and grief, or just dealing with the process of all these things kind of shedding in my life and then starting something new. So I jumped into it fully. I was I'm going to write, record, mix, and master my own project, not knowing anything about any of this. But I was I'm going to do it fully because I've seen the process. I've watched people do it for years. I think I can do this. I think I understand how to make this happen. So I started writing this project. and it eventually turned into romantic melancholy, and then brief period of emotions is kind of what I called the initial project. And it was just like a dump of all my thoughts. It was like everything that I was struggling with, sadness and heartbreak and everything. And at that time, I was listening to a bunch of different music. I grew up listening to so many different genres, like just such a wealth of different genres. But at that time, I was like really finding my place in like an R&B soul portion, especially with the band being more alternative and like punk. I like yearned for this softer sadness. And it really did have that tie to blues because it like had this like guttural emotion to it, and like the way the chords were and the way everything kind of like was smooth, but like, gut wrenching too, So I started writing this project, and that's really what it turned out to be, like more of like an R&B soul project. Pulled the songs together, ended up mixing it. It was a whole process of me trying to understand and just like going about it, not knowing really how to do any of it. And I like fully promoted it, like rented a venue, did a listening party, got tapes made, did merch, did all of, yeah, shout out to the tape. Shout out to the cassette.
Wide lens. Look at that motherfucker. It's pretty. And you did all the packaging
and
for
packaging, yeah. So all of the like aesthetic and marketing related to it was all designed and everything like that. So it was all like, it was just me. It was like truly like me, just like kind of like an FU to like doing everything with everybody else, like for myself, and being like, I'm gonna just do this, Again, with love, like I loved working with everybody and doing all these things, but it was like, I have to prove this to myself now. Cause like at this point, I'm kind of lost all of these things that I like was grounded in. So I got to ground myself and like, what can I do? So I just like went fully into it and made this project, and ended up being really proud of it. I did a really awesome music video with a good friend, Josh Nesmith. He directed this music video. It's one of my favorite music videos I've ever done. It's really cool.
Which song?
It's for This Is All I Wanted. That was like the single of the project. And I was just having fun, like sampling, playing a lot of bass. Grew up playing guitar a lot, but I really loved bass. And I ended up learning a lot of other instruments throughout all those years. Bass, started learning some piano, singing, like all of these things. Started collecting all of those. And like I played a lot of bass on this and did a lot more sampling, and started that kind of trajectory of producing, and saw like, what is it like to try and pinpoint what is my voice? And I think that really ties later into like what I love about producing is like translating somebody's voice and trying to describe it fully and like assemble a full aesthetic image. So yeah, I did this project, and it got well received. I think people really liked it. They liked what I was doing, and it was like unique and interesting and such a different like environment and genre than the album and the bands that we were performing before, like all the albums we had.
When did it come out?
That was 2019.
2019.
So
before Nashville.
Yeah, before Nashville. So Jordan was getting ready to move, and I was writing this, and I already had songs assembled. I was like showing the bandmates like some of these songs, but I just like fully assembled it after the band. Came out with that in 2019. Followed that up with a 3-single project in September that same year. I was like, all this time that I had in everything else now just went into one thing. So immediately put out these other 3 songs in September. Ended up just kind of like early 20s chaos of like, ended up moving up to like another place in PA to help open a location with my job. Ended up moving there for a year, ended up coming back to Lancaster. A lot of chaos through all those years, but I was still like making music and producing, and came out with that project, came out with the 3 singles. 2020 ended up coming out with another full project, like back to back.
What was this called?
This one was Pursuit of Happiness. And Pursuit of Happiness, I'm incredibly proud of. And it's unfortunate because I released it in October of 2020. We were all in the middle of COVID. Nobody wanted to listen to my DIY project, But I, again, did the same thing. Recorded, wrote, produced everything myself. And I'm incredibly proud of that project. Got some other artists involved in like the album art design, did some videos, and I was really proud of that project. I spoke very openly about a lot of things I was struggling with, and more so like it truly is like the name of it, like Pursuit of Happiness is like what, as you know, I'm 22 now, what is my importance? Like, what do I care about? And what are the essential things to me?
Well, you also, being able to like do a solo one is kind of figuring out, once again, going to your voice, but then it's like, okay, now I got this figured. I can pour. It's kind of like the first album that y'all did. It's like, okay, figure it out. Second album, dump everything into it.
Yeah.
And so like, okay, this is my version of what I want to do.
Yeah. No, exactly. And so I really, really enjoyed that process. It was also like such a exhausting process too. I'm doing everything myself. I'm spending hours. My ears are dead. My ears are completely.
Well, during COVID too, it's
yeah. And so I was just, I mean, that was how I was spending all my free time during COVID, and just like writing this and trying to mix it and all of these things, like going like ear deaf to these things that I'm writing, and the album starts just sounding like a bunch of like Sonics. But yeah, it was like very exhausting. I stressed about it a lot, but I got it done and I was very proud of it. But like I just didn't really get to show it to people because we were all isolated. And I started to like kind of like hyper analyze all of these social things that I did, the band and church and all these things that I think a lot of us during COVID, we like started to like reanalyze like who we were as a social person, who we were out in public. And it kind of became this like anomaly as we started to like interact with people in society again fully without that like barrier of what was going on. And I think it kind of was a little bit like disorienting, right? Like it made us all feel like
hell yeah.
questioning.
I'm still a little disoriented.
Yeah, like I'm still like a little bit socially like awkward because of that. Like I truly was such an extroverted social person before that, and now I feel like a little part of me has been taken away from that experience.
Absolutely.
So it was just a lot of questioning, and I was at early 20s. Like it was
hell of a time.
Like frontal lobes developing during a pandemic. Like that's just unfortunate timing. But during that time, I was living in this apartment in Bloomsburg, PA, middle of nowhere, redneck country, like opening a warehouse for restaurant supplies, like all this responsibility, working on a project. And I met my upstairs roommate, Darius. Darius is a really good friend. He is good people. And we ended up meeting and realizing we both made music because he was the floor above me and he kept hearing the same sounds over and over. He's not listening to music. He's like, he's making music. I know that sound because
he's just editing the same.
Yeah, like the same 30 seconds keeps playing. And he's like, he's not listening to music. He's making it. So we ended up meeting, and during COVID, that was like an oasis. Like he would just come down and we'd just work on music together. We just lock in and we wrote a bunch of songs.
That's a saving grace, dude. Holy shit, man.
Great friend, and like really saved me through that time of like just being able to survive through all of that. I just got to keep collaborating with this person. He would just walk one floor down and we'd start working on music. And that, like, I always was listening to so many genres, but especially like listening to a lot of hip hop and really enjoying R&B. Darius is a rapper. He has his own music. He had like a collective called CBE, Cool Boy Early, and started working with him, started working with his friends, started really getting into producing, and like really making tracks with him. And we worked on a bunch of music during that time. And even after that, started working with their group and started like producing and writing tracks for them. Started working with them more intensely, and a whole new environment of like producing, of like the transition of band to them producing myself to them producing others. And spent like a couple years working on stuff with them, working on releasing songs with them, doing music videos with them, having a very different perspective and role to play in that involvement. And it taught me a lot about producing, and I was like really honing in the skill where I was like, I love this shit. Like, this is awesome. I love helping people translate this idea that they have, this like untangible or intangible idea in their head, and making it like tangible.
Well, that goes back to kind of what you said at the very beginning, being like producing is such a all-encompassing thing nowadays, but like the way you look at it is like I am the person who helps brings this person's voice to life.
I am truly a bridge. Yeah. I am not supposed to be a key player in that involvement. I'm just a bridge between the intangible idea concept, and I'm just the bridge that gets you to the tangible process.
So see, the engineer that I worked for when I was in Chicago, his name's CB, Chris Barnett. He said the same thing. He's like, engineer is like, I'm just here for the artist. Like I'm not like there's no, like my voice does not fucking matter.
Yeah.
If they ask my opinion, I'll tell them because I want it to be good for them.
Yeah.
But it's like
I truly think that is something about the back end of music, of like all the people working in the background. If they're doing their job well, you don't notice a thing.
Damn right.
That is, shout out to everybody that works roadie crews, that works back end on music, that works venues around here. Y'all are what make this happen and give these people an opportunity, a voice. And like, I love the back end of music. I love the process and the technical aspect, because the people that truly do their job well, you don't notice at all. If they're doing their job bad, that's when you notice.
If you see a great show-stopping performance because everybody did their job right, and you only think the performer did a great job.
Yeah, exactly. And like, shout out to everybody that made that happen, because it took like a huge crew to make that happen. And I think unfortunately, a lot of the times whenever they come into conversation is when the mix is bad, or when something sounds bad.
I used to work at House of Blues as security guard. My friend who got me that job was their front of house engineer, and she goes and will tour with like hip hop people who do it. And she, being a woman behind the board at those venues, and she's like, I have dudes all the time just in my ear being like, "Oh, you could fix this kick a little bit," or like, these are a little resonant. Like it's like,
it's truly a thankless job.
Yeah,
like,
it really
is. And I every time I go to a show and it is a good show and it sounds great, I always take a moment to walk back to the person at the board and be like, "Hey man, sounded great.
You're a good dude, man. You're a good dude."
It's so important, and like, it's something that like matters so much to me, of like, music is truly like this full experience, and like there's a lot of people that spend a lot of effort and energy and years of their life to make it happen.
And taking years off their life.
Just
to make it sound
just
good.
For one person to have a really good night.
That's
like
crazy.
That's sick.
Yeah.
So yeah, I just like really got involved in like the back end of music and like understanding that, and I found that I liked that a lot better. I was never like one of those people that's like, I need to be the front person. I need to be like even in the band, like I would like start songs and then be like, okay, like, what do you guys think? What parts do you want to add? You know, like, how do you want this to sound or whatever? And we'd like have this conversation and make these things, but I wasn't the singer. Like, I was like a back end singer, or I'd play guitar or whatever, but I never wanted to be like that one singular person. And I was like playing shows as Malcolm, but I didn't love it always because I was just doing it myself. I would play bass and sing and then run samples. And it was cool, but it felt like such a lifeless version of what I loved,
Absolutely.
which was playing.
You're a one-man band.
Yeah, like point, it was like, I never wanted to be that person of like, look at me, you know, like. So, started really, working with that group, making a lot of hip hop music, and working on like some R&B stuff, working on more stuff with myself, and ended up, Darius and I were like, let's do a project together. Darius' artist's name is Bino. And so we decided to do a collaborative shared project. And that would be the third project I release, organic.zip. And that was a 2-year long process, a lot of changes, a lot of things that we went into. We ended up doing a short film that associated with the project. That was really cool to like write.
I love shit like that.
Get involved with the director and like have this whole concept that like describes the project. We got a really great painter to paint the album cover and make a custom painting for this album cover. We got ended up reaching out to a mixing engineer to finish the project. This was the first time I like took a backseat to mixing and like actually got somebody to like mix it for me. Hired this guy named Chube. He mixes for Noah Guy. I don't know if you know that artist.
I don't think so.
Great R&B artist. Mm-hmm. Found him, reached out to him, and got him involved. He mixed a project for us. Just a lot of involvement of like, this started to become back to like the larger, I want everybody involved thing. I took this time to like figure out myself. Now I want to bring people back into it. And yeah, we ended up doing videos for that project as well, with my good friends Jesse and Avi, and yeah, we ended up putting out this project, and that was May of 2024.
Wow.
Release this project, did like a release event and everything. It felt really good to do that project, and just work with somebody directly and do this collaborative project. It was like a very different animal to tackle. And also like so many people involved. Like if I named everybody that was involved with that project, it'd be a long, long list. But just shout out to everybody that helped out with that. It was great. And that kind of like just started all of my producing and like really honing my efforts in working with artists and producing. Now we're kind of like current. Now we're kind of like where I've been the past couple years. I know.
We went from 2019, 2020, October 2020 to 2024. I was like, damn.
It's been a long journey.
Yeah.
It's been a long journey because like truly this is like the first thing is music for me. So it's like,
well, it's like it's healing. Like
it's like not describing my life. You know,
you have to take the time to personally get right, and then it's like, okay, now I feel like I'm in a healthy enough position where I can dive back into this, where I'm not gonna be cynical about it, because that's what it is with me. It's like if I'm not fully like healed up on some stuff, it's like you can still have the negativity seep in.
Yeah.
But then also too being like, okay, like now I'm getting more in with the group, like it's more of a community thing. Like I think that's always moving from the one man band stuff and just hearing about how you've grown up with it. Like it's just that's kind of what the antithesis is. It's a human thing.
Yeah,
it's 100%.
100%. Yeah, no, it definitely is. Like it's truly a human experience. And like doing it with people, very important. I think taking a step away and then coming back to it, I was like, no, that's actually what I really like about this. So current. So I met in 2023. I met Avi. She goes by Ravana. Avi is a ASMR creator for like TikTok and YouTube and just online in general. And she reached out to me in late 2023 about wanting to work on music. She saw like my posts with organic and like my posts with like the existing music that I was doing with other artists. And she just reached out to me on a whim. The reason being is her partner, her fiance now, was getting tattooed at the same time I was getting tattooed at my sister's shop. And I was getting my chest done. And he saw and just remembered me because I was like deep into getting this chest piece done, and ended up following me online because he followed my sister. And then he was like, hey, this dude makes music. Told Avi about it. Avi was like, oh, I'm gonna reach out to him. So she ends up driving like 2 hours from where she lived, come visit me, and we sat for a day and started working on music together. And that started this whole journey of like truly starting an artist from scratch. She's a phenomenal singer, phenomenal artist, and she did a lot of like theatrical stuff, in her more formative years, and then started getting into ASMR and getting more involved in the community and getting like a decent following online. But she really wanted to ultimately do music, so we started like from scratch with her of like, let's figure out who you are as an artist, like. And this is where I talk about what producing truly is. It is, yes, it is a lot about the music, but a lot of, I'd say like half and half is about developing that person as an artist. And it's truly like an interpersonal, working with a person interaction of who are you and how do I convey that in the music that you make? Because I'm not trying to like help somebody figure out who they are just right now. I'm trying to help them describe themselves so that they can sustainably keep making music the way that they naturally should, something that's authentic and honest. And like, if I don't understand who you are as a person, I can't as much help you develop that skill of like who you are fully. And so we started really working on building up her music, figuring out what she liked, who she was inspired by, what her sound is, how she conveys that. And we started assembling this full project and trying different ideas and all these things. And that was like over the last 2 years, we've been working on that. And I was just mixing it last night. We're finishing up the project, and we're almost done. And that should be released this year.
If you had to put her in a genre, what would the figure?
So I definitely wanted to take inspiration from her involvement in ASMR. So I wanted it to be. We talked a lot about like ethereal aspects. There's a practice that I like to do with artists, which is, and I don't know who I'm stealing this from. I know somebody else has mentioned it, but. It goes in with a lot of like art practices of you pick 3 adjectives to describe something. And if the thing that you're doing in your art practice doesn't fall within any of those 3 adjectives, then it doesn't fall under your aesthetic.
Wow.
So for her, it would be like ethereal, honest, and I forget what we decided it was the last piece. But you basically pick 3 adjectives, and that's how you create this artistic aesthetic of like imagery, music, whatever. If it doesn't fall in those 3 adjectives that truly describe what you're trying to go for, then it doesn't fit in this project. So we really went with that mentality. So for her, definitely I describe it as like, it's a more like alt pop. It's like bedroom pop. Definitely like similar to a lot of like wispier like artists, like a mix of like some alternative. I feel like alternative is the best way to describe these things when they're not specific.
It's kind of like Americana. It's
yeah,
just like,
yeah.
It's
like,
alt stuff,
but
right?
like
yeah,
like inspirations like Mitski and like Billie Eilish and this kind of sphere of like pop adjacent things, but still very very honest and very intentional. And there was like a lot of like processing that I think she did in writing lyrics and us building the songs together and learning how to mix and learning how to produce and all these things and like teaching her things along the way and like helping lift her up as an artist. And I truly hope that she feels that she walked away with like who she is as an artist now. And I think she does based on our conversations. But we ended up like living together for the last year.
Wow.
Me and her partner, and we lived together for the last year working on the project. And then I moved down here to Nashville. And yeah, we're finishing up this project. It's awesome. So getting ready to finish that up, and then Jordan and I reconnecting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I want to hear, because he was the catalyst to get you down here.
Yeah.
I want to hear because we talked about it in the episode 2.
Yeah.
But that was 3 months ago. I want to be reminded. I want to hear your side of it actually too. Yeah.
So Jordan and I, since he moved down to Nashville, we were still like talking like every 6 months or so. Kind of like sporadically. I was going through my own shit. He was too. Like it was not like a sour feeling or anything. It was just like, we're adults now. We got to figure this thing out. So like when we reconnected, it was awesome. It was nice. Like he was working on his own music, which was cool. I started watching him from a distance. I was working on my own stuff. We would like reach out to each other and be like, hey, loved your project, like still like supporting from a distance. We were connecting, sparingly from there. And then last year, our bassist Rue reached out and was like, hey, we should do a reunion show. I think, I can't remember if Sadie and I started the conversations with Rue and then we all reached out to Jordan. I think something along those lines.
Like that, because I remember, I think that was actually 24, like maybe like summertime 24, because I remember getting a text message from like all of y'all. It was like back in like the old group chat.
Yeah.
And Rue was just like, they were just like, yeah, like this is what we're thinking.
Yeah. Hopping back in this group chat after like 5 years.
A dead group chat is 5 years. Be like, hey, y'all up?
Yeah. And it was truly like a text like, hey, you want to do a reunion? We're like, yep.
No shit.
That was it.
Yep,
like again, like
great.
we're all great friends. Like we all love each other dearly. All the decisions around like the band and everything were never like a sour point. They were tough to process, but like ultimately we still cared about each other. So we decided to do a reunion show, which was awesome. We ended up practicing from a distance. Jordan was here in Nashville. We got together. Rue, Sadie, and I all practiced some time.
Doing like Discord rehearsals or like Skype practice?
No, we were just like running through. We played for years and we were touring and everything. So it was like truly like a.
This is your sixth sense.
We already know.
It's already muscle memory.
Honestly, back to the conversation, like it's truly just us talking.
Yeah.
Like, it's just like, okay, we're just gonna talk again.
And I think that's so necessary in the relationships that we establish with each other. Again, like the conversation's going to go well if we're all friends. You know what I mean? Like there wasn't any sour feelings or whatever. we just jumped right back in. So we ended up doing that show in November of 2024. And this DIY venue called The Upside, our good friends that we toured with for years, Sun Not Yellow, Corey Paternoster, and a few other people own that venue in Lancaster. Great. It's like a studio venue. Great venue. Really good people, like just people we spent years with. And so we scheduled the reunion show. Sun Not Yellow opened up for it, which they were, again, our partners we toured with for years. So it was like a big reconnection. Jordan flew in. That was the first time I saw him in like 5 years.
Wow.
And it was a crazy feeling. And we linked up for like a longer weekend. I think he came in on Wednesday and we played on Saturday or something like that. And so we practiced once. Our Thursday practice, we all drove down to my parents' house as we always did every Thursday.
Just like old times.
Again, we practiced every Thursday for years. And
what were your parents like seeing everybody? Were they like super excited?
Everyone was excited.
Yeah.
Like, it was so fun.
Everybody was like excited. I think everybody was definitely, there was like an underlying air of like everybody's just emotional right now.
Yeah, it's just like a wild feeling.
Yeah, it was insane.
Because it was such a key point of like all of our lives. Even my parents and my other sister, like, we all went to the shows.
It's
like,
a family.
all my
it's a
friends,
family affair.
Yeah, all my friends went to the shows. Like, it was an emotional time for sure. So we practiced that Thursday, got food. Like, it was the same thing. Still joking, still silly, the same thing. Practice went great first time. Like, no issues. Like, we all knew our parts. We played it for years. Like, we're still musicians. You know what I mean? Like, it sounds.
It's in the
silly.
Rolodex of your music. Yeah.
We're all still playing music, so it's not like we're like picking up our instruments for the first time. It's just we're just playing these songs again. And we decided to play some new songs that we wrote in between that we never released. So we got these songs together. We played the show. It was awesome. We sold out this DIY venue. It was packed, and it was so fun. And yeah, we just had a big hug, and it felt like a true closing of a chapter that we never got to close.
Super big closure, man. Like, that's massive.
All,
I can't even. I'm getting a little because like I didn't put together how not abrupt, maybe abrupt, just in being young and having to process those things, but then also too like people don't get the luxury of closure all the time. Like whether it's with people passing or like all these things, and so when it's something so integral to, especially as musicians and as creatives like that. I still need closure on something, so yeah, I'm
it's
feeling,
awesome, and I'm so grateful that that people could be so transient in our lives, but then still come together.
Wow,
for without any hesitation. Yeah. Like
it
was truly like a text, and everybody's like, "Yep." Yeah.
Wow.
Like that's beautiful. That's awesome. Like so grateful for the people I have in my life. So
that's the story of your shirt. It's real love right there, baby.
It's real love.
Yeah, it's love, baby. Fuck that Target section.
They didn't even hear that story, so they're not even going to
right. Yeah, right. Well, blip that.
So that was awesome. And before Jordan was coming down, he was like, "Hey, this is crazy, but the weekend after we perform and do our reunion show, they're doing a camp event here in Nashville. Would you want to come down to Nashville?" So before he came in, I booked a flight on that Sunday after we performed to fly to Nashville. So Jordan he drove back Saturday to Sunday, and then I got ready to fly back. Or I flew in. Did I fly in on Monday, I think?
I think you flew in on Monday because I got back Saturday.
You had one day, and then I was in Nashville for the first time.
It was literally like we were sporadically talking for years.
And then all of a sudden we're like,
and then it was just like boom, and like everything was just like.
That's just like this. That's like the group text. It's like, yeah, sure, let's do it. Yeah, let's run it. Let's run it.
Yeah. So I packed the following Sunday. Again, I was exhausted. We just performed a show. First time I would like performed like that in a long time. Sore as hell. A couple years on me, and then flew out on Monday and got into Nashville and experienced Nashville for the first time.
Holy.
Came down here, got to experience this entire environment Jordan was living in for the past 5 years.
Where'd you go first? Like what was the
Picked me up from the airport. I think we just went back to your house.
Yeah, picked you up from the airport. Went back to my house. Then we
went to Xiaobao.
Yeah.
No, that was the second trip. We went to Xiaobao.
We did go to Xiaobao.
Yeah, we got dinner. That was like the first thing we did. And yeah, I work remote, so I like worked here in Nashville and then like spent the week in Nashville, and then that weekend we went to camp and I got to meet like all these people that are integral in Jordan's life. Got to meet Dante for the first time. Got to meet Wes for the first time. Got to meet Taj for the first time. Like all these great people that have been very important in Jordan's life, separate from who I know Jordan as well. You know what I mean? Like I get to now be in Jordan's world. Same thing if he got to come to PA and see where I've been the past couple of years.
Wow. Oh, shit.
Crazy.
That's crazy. That's
Crazy.
Nuts, dude.
So just jumped right in, and I was so grateful for that first weekend. I was at kind of a weird point in my life, and everybody showed me so much love here. And like I have been in situations in music environments where people are so like arm's length, and like everybody I interacted with here was so willing to like instantly like throw me in the group and like invite me in, not knowing who I am, you know, not having any context about me, but just like knowing that I know other people. And so they're like, come on in. And that was like just super encouraging, and camp was awesome. I got to meet all these people that I now am friends with from that. And I just kind of like fell in love with the like openness that came with this. I was like, I got to come back. So I like flew back. I like figured some more stuff out. Was like a week later that you called me.
Yeah, something like, yeah, it was
so
like a week later.
When he came back for the reunion show, we were like, we should like make some music while you're here. So we like made a track, and it was like, felt really good. It was like one of those things where it was like, wait, like we work really well together. Again, this like instinctual like band relationship, like. And so we worked on some music while I was here for camp, and I got back, and like a week later he called me. He was like, hey man, I've been thinking about it. Like, do you want to produce for me? Like, do you want to like work on this next project with me? And it started this whole world of things that like continued to evolve. And like, we spent all of 2025 just working on his project. I was working on the other project, but I was flying back and forth. I was like I like came to visit in like March. I had another flight in May that got canceled and ended up coming back like a week later. We ended up making this project together, which more details will come out, but I'm insanely proud of what we did. It is awesome. And it's like, I'm so grateful for this friend that I've had for so many years, for us to reconnect and be able to make something even greater that is totally different than what we did before, and just connect as musicians, and just super special, like just so special. And all last year we had this huge journey. Like we like have made this crazy project. It ends up doing a lot of things, getting people involved. We ended up contacting a mixing engineer. That mixing engineer has worked on a few of the songs we've already released, and he works with Schoolboy Q and a lot of other bigger artists. And we ended up getting an opportunity to fly out to LA and meet him, hang out in LA for a weekend, and see the fruits of our labor and invest in each other and like building this, and being able to take all these things I've learned from all these years of like how I can be that catalyst and be that bridge for artists, and be able to do it with somebody that I care about incredibly. You know what I mean? Like that's awesome. And I think what it ended up being is this like great partnership of us not only being able to like have the best time with one of my best friends, but like make some beautiful art that I think people are really going to enjoy. And so, yeah, last year was just fucking crazy, and I decided to move to Nashville, and here I am.
Well, I think I'm always with, remind me of the artist you're working with, 23 to 25. This is with the project you're working. Bino. Okay, so there's Bino. You're working with Jordan. Who's the singer?
Ravana.
And the Ravana. So you got all these different sort of things you're in, but it all comes back to intention.
Yeah.
And like the intention of being like, okay, like I'm gonna come down to Nashville all the time, and like you know, and actually make it happen. Because how many people were like, yo, yeah, come out, we can make some stuff happen. It's like, okay, and that, you know, I think a big piece of that too, as somebody who grew up here and like, you know, kind of. Like I spent a lot of time kind of to myself and doing creative stuff, but to see that openness and the people who are coming here, I think there's a drastic difference with people who grew up here about how much they don't like people coming here because of like all the money stuff and all that. They don't get to see the third spaces or like the people who get to, benefit or get to create the new sort of underground culture or the DIY culture. People forget that it's these sort of attitudes that are changing. Like it's changing the city for the better. I think at least that's what I'm thinking personally.
I'm hopeful for that because like I've been here since November, and I see so much that is good about this area, and I also see a lot of the ugly aspects of. I'm gonna be critical of the city that I just moved to, so take it with a grain of salt.
Be critical. Do it.
This city doesn't care about the things that matters about the city, and this environment that has so many eclectic and interesting people is so calculated and washed over by. It's just sterilized. And like you have these places that breathe art, and there's so many people that could do that if they weren't like snuffed out by what the city is trying to care about. I just feel like the people care about different things than the city itself cares about. We have the stadium being built. We have so much focus on tourism and country music and Broadway and XYZ. Meanwhile, you have one of the like most concentrated congregation of arts in general in this area, in this very small city relatively. And it could be so weird and so fucking cool. And I think it's important for everybody that is in the DIY scene or even in kind of a step above that or whatever to really like focus on allowing it to be weird and to be eclectic and to be interesting, because there is so much of that opportunity here, and it could, if that was nourished, and I think that you're finding environments where that's being nourished more and encouraged. I think if we keep focusing on nourishing that, this city can become something truly great and something like that truly helps people make the best art, like make the best possible product they could. This great experience of shows, of just witnessing like human life from an artistic perspective.
That's what it used to be. I mean, this place used to be the best place for music. Like, I mean, it's the talking about the sterile side. It's so corporate. Like, it's so LA. It's so, you like so... I work in country music. I don't watch the CMA Awards for pleasure. I watch them for work, and it's just like I'm fucking sick and tired of watching Peyton Manning and Blake Shelton talk bullshit on the stage where it's like, when you got, people at Lulo Sound Room or, these other cool, like at Dark Matter doing dope shit.
There's so many cool shows.
There's so many
cool venues,
The community spaces here, compared to like the institutional sort of things that have happened, it's also the mindset that's changed. It's not the 80s, 90s. Everybody wants to make sure everybody's good. Because it used to be, you could write B-sides on a Kenny Rogers record, make your money, and then you could still be buddies and shit. But now it's like we want to gatekeep ourselves.
No, 100%. And like I just got here, so like you can tell me to fuck off or whatever. No, dude. But like
you're doing it the right way. Like I'm telling y'all, the people who I want here are the people.
I truly think that if we build from the ground up, of like we continue to open up our arms and invite these people into these environments, like Jordan has done with me, like I've been able to do with other people that I met through these things, and we keep opening up our arms and pulling people in, I truly think that will build this like inescapable like basis of
absolutely
everybody can't not get involved in this.
I think the shit like camp. It's a perfect example.
Shout out to
Jack. No, seriously. Like that, I mean, like not only a third space, but you get like a third ecosystem.
Yeah.
Like this is something where you guys, it's not like your writers around.
Yeah. It's
like, this is like Dreamville. Like this is Revenge of the Dreamers type thing.
So fun. So many fun opportunities, and I have, I just got here and I haven't seen this, but what the city was like before. I've heard things about like pre-COVID and stuff too as well. I think people like to infantilize things, whatever. But either way, I just think that there's such an exciting opportunity in this city. And I think it's important as every creative involved and the people that have platforms to like nourish the right things. I just think there's so much opportunity in the city to do something really, really great. And I hope that everybody keeps working towards the right things and not the wrong things. Does that make sense?
I hear that. Good, not evil.
Yeah.
Plug your socials. That's what we got right here.
Plug all right. Plug in socials. With Love Malcolm Instagram. That's where I unfortunately am chronically online. It's where I post everything. My YouTube, With Love Malcolm, pretty much everything's on With Love Malcolm. My link tree's on my bio. Contains all the music I've produced, worked on with artists. I have Threads. I don't have X or whatever it is. But in general, like Instagram's the best place to keep up with me. Try to keep up to date on like what I've been working on, what I'm producing. And yeah, like reach out to me on there. Like Linktree has all the things. Like just click on that link and you can grab everything from me. But I'm just always so down to work with artists directly. And I'm fine with making beats and sending it to somebody, but like not really what I care about. I want to work with people directly and like help them do what they do so well and like lift that up on a pedestal. So yeah, like reach out to me if you want to like be my friend and we figure that out from there.
Or if you want to cut some records.
Yeah,
right
like,
there.
I love meeting new people and like this is just like a collective like soup that we're all stirring in. So just jump in the pot. Let's work on something.
Appreciate you.
Appreciate you.
Thanks, homie.
Yeah, absolutely, man.